I'm starting a new series on this channel called Boost My Build. Now I want to say that this is not my idea and I'm going to give credits right after I explain what this series is about. And this series is about helping the gaming community. You send me out the part list of the PC build that you want to buy and I'm going to give you a feedback and boost your build with the components that I think are not the right ones for the price, so at the end you will have a much better gaming PC for less money. So it's about helping the gaming community not to make mistakes when buying a gaming PC. In order for me to feature one of your PCs on my videos, you need to go to my Instagram account. You need to send me a message on my Instagram account. Remember, you gotta be following. So send me the PC part picker list. If you don't know how to make this list, you just need to go to the website PC Part Picker, all links down below in the description, and you choose the different components for your gaming PC. Once you're finished, you will see a link in the top left of the screen. You copy that link and send it out to me, and by doing that you will have a chance to have your PC build featured on my video. Now this is, like I said before, not my idea. This is PC Builder's idea. He's a professional at gaming PCs. I really love his channel, and of course you will find his channel down below in the description. Without further ado, let's start. With the first list, we have one from a subscriber named Reverse. I see some really big mistakes on this gaming desktop and I'm going to help you out right now. And the first thing is going to be the CPU, the i9-11900K. This is one of the worst options that you could go with, especially because 11th gen wasn't really the best generation of Intel. I don't consider it a failure because you have the i5-11400F, which is a really good CPU, but the i9-11900K didn't live up to its expectations. For that reason, I do recommend you going with a new gen CPU that you will see in a second. For the CPU cooler, we have the NCXT Kraken C63RGB. Again, I wouldn't buy this CPU cooler mainly because of the price. $275. It's a lot of money for a CPU cooler, especially for a 280 all-in-one liquid cooler. And I know you did this because you want the white look, but however, you can get a CPU cooler that's also white for less price and it's going to give you the same performance, so stay tuned to that. Then for the motherboard, once again, $335 is a lot of money for a motherboard. I know you want the white look, but you're picking a really expensive motherboard that you won't need and won't give you any extra performance at all. Then for the memory kit, and I think I've made a mistake here because I think you picked DDR4 at 3200 MHz, but I couldn't find it on the PC Part Picker, but it's around the same price, so my recommendation will still be the same. This is a G-Skill Royal 32 gigs of RAM, 2x16 DDR4 3600 MHz CL16 memory. This is a great kit, but once again, I think it's expensive and we could go with a cheaper one that's going to give us the same performance that is also white. But if you really like this memory kit, I won't be mad at you. You can go ahead and get it if you feel like it. Then for storage, you pick the Samsung 980 Pro 2TB of M.2 SSD. This is a Gen 4 SSD and I do not recommend you going for Gen 4 SSDs, mainly because it's too expensive, and once again you won't notice any difference for gaming between Gen 3 and Gen 4. Both are really fast and you won't have any advantage, so unless you're a professional content creator, do not get Gen 4 SSD. Then for the graphics card, you went with the Zotac GeForce RTX 3080 Ti 12 gigs gaming graphics card, and at this price point I would save up and wait for the next gen GPUs, so you can actually save up a lot of money on a graphics card if you want to save up for next gen. So I wouldn't get a 3080 Ti if you're going to operate it with the new gen GPUs, because you're not saving a lot of money by buying a $900 GPU, especially because you will be playing at 1080p. I will talk about that in a second, but I think that it's insane that you're spending this amount of money on a gaming PC for 1080p. Then for the case, you pick the Lian Li O11 Dynamic Evo ATX case. I'm not mad at you because you want the white aesthetic, however I think we can get a much cheaper option that still looks beautiful and will save you up more money for the next gen GPUs. And on top of that, you ended up going with 3 Corsair fans at $126, and you will actually need another extra fan, so you will need 4, not 3, because there is no exhaust fan. So I think that you're spending a lot of money where you don't need to. You need to spend the money on performance, but if you're waiting for the next GPUs and you're trying to save up, you don't want to spend a lot of money on a gaming PC, at least not in the GPU. Then for the power supply, you went with the Asus ROG Strix 850 watt 80 plus core power supply, Now, the next gen GPUs are rumored to be really power hungry, so I would get at least a 1000 watt power supply, and considering that you're spending 140 bucks only because it's a wide power supply, I think it's insane, and you can save up a lot of money by picking another case and a power supply that's black that you won't even see on your build. Then you're also going for Windows 11 at around $120. I think we can save up money there by buying from a third-party seller. These are official, so don't worry. I'm not sponsored by any of these websites, that's why I'm not mentioning one in particular, but you have plenty of websites that are going to sell you keys for much cheaper. And then I think the number one mistake for this build is the monitor. You went with a 1080p 240Hz monitor. Now, I couldn't find it on the PC part picker, but I put the price that you saw on the picture that you sent me. So for 360 bucks, you're playing at 1080p. I think you're wasting all of your components if you're going to play at 1080p. You want to play at least 1440p, even 4K with these components. But since you picked a 240Hz monitor, I'm guessing you also want high refresh rate. So the total price for your PC build, it's 3,150 bucks, which is an insane amount of money for the performance that you're getting on this PC, and especially because you want to save up for the next gen. For that reason, let me boost this build. So this is the boosted build. We will first talk about the CPU. I picked the i7-12700K. Trust me, this is more than you're going to need. You definitely don't need the i9-12900K. And yes, this CPU, it's actually $100 more expensive than the i9 that you picked, but the overall price is going to be much cheaper, and you will see that in a moment. For the CPU cooler, I went with a 360 all-in-one liquid cooler that's actually $100, which is much cheaper than the NCXT one. It's also white, beautiful RGB. You definitely do not need the NCXT one. You're going to be overspending your money. Then for the motherboard, I picked the ASRock 3690 Steel Legend with Wi-Fi included ATX motherboard. This one also has the white look, and the price is $185. You get great features for both gaming and content creation, and the price is almost half of what you were going to pay for the other motherboard. Then for the memory, I actually don't mind if you go for the other one if you like it so much, but you can go ahead and buy this Redline 32 gigs of RAM, 2x16, DDR4 36MHz CL16 memory. So basically same performance, white looks, RGB, and you're saving around 50 bucks. But if you really like the other memory kit, go ahead and get the other one. I wouldn't be mad at you. Then for the storage, I picked the Samsung 970 EVO Plus 2TB of M.2 SSD. Like I said, you don't need Gen 4 SSD at all. It's a waste of money unless you're a professional content creator, and we save up around 33 bucks by going with this super fast Gen 3 SSD. Then for the graphics card, I went with the RX 6800 XT with 16 gigs of VRAM. Now, this is going to be slower than the 3080 Ti. Don't worry, you won't notice any difference even at 1440p. I think that the difference is around 11%, so the 3080 Ti it's 11% faster at 1440p. But remember, you were spending a lot of money on a 1080p monitor, and I wouldn't even buy a graphics card that's high-end for 1080p, and I don't even recommend this 6800 XT if you're going to get a 1080p monitor. However, I changed your monitor and I will talk about that in a moment. But this 6800 XT, it's around $280 cheaper, only an 11% difference for 1440p gaming and a 20% difference for 4K. But you have to keep in mind that you want to upgrade in the future for the new GPUs, and let me tell you that with the money that you end up saving with this build, you will be able to buy a brand new high-end GPU from the next gen. Then for the case, I went with the Corsair iQ4000X. This one is a wide build, has great airflow, and it already comes with 3 fans included for a price of 125 bucks, so you don't have to spend extra money on a bunch of fans. I added up one fan because you need the exhaust one, but that one is 35 bucks, which is a huge difference from the $126 that you were going to spend only for case fans. Then for the power supply, I got you the EVGA G5 1000 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Like I said before, if you're aiming for the next gen GPUs, you want to have at least 1000 watt power supply. We can even argue to get even more, but I think that this is the minimum for the next gen GPUs. Then I lowered the price on the Windows 11 because you can get a key for as little as 15 bucks, so you don't want to buy the full price for Windows. And then for the monitor, I switched it up to the Gigabyte 27-inch 1440p 170Hz monitor. This is a great monitor, and the total price for this PC is 2247 bucks, with 35 cents with the monitor included. So I saved you 895 bucks, which is a lot of money, and the 4080 is rumored to be around $700, but we all know that it might go up at first, so you may want to wait a little longer. With the money you save here, you will be able to get that GPU, but in my opinion it's a totally overkill for 1440p, and you won't really need to upgrade anything in the next years with this PC, so you may even want to save up the money and get a new GPU when the difference is huge, but that is up to you. With this PC build you will be able to get a new GPU from the next gen, and you're getting much better price to performance parts on this build. Remember guys that you will have these boosted builds down below in the description if you wanna check those out, in case you have the same budget and you have the same goals with the gaming PC as the subscriber that sent me this build. The next subscriber, called Cal, sent me this PC, and I'm guessing his goal is 1080p gaming, and I see some major mistakes on this build as well that I'm going to fix throughout this video. But the first thing is going to be the CPU, the Ryzen 5 3600. This is 1 generation older and it's going to become 2 generations older in less than a month, and for around $15 extra you can get a much better Ryzen 5 with better performance for both gaming and multitasking. So I don't think that getting the Ryzen 5 3600 is a good idea at this moment. Then I have no idea why you picked a liquid CPU cooler for 71 bucks. You can get away with the stock CPU cooler for the Ryzen 5 3600 and even for the newer Ryzen 5 5000 series, so I wouldn't get a liquid CPU cooler, especially for the Ryzen 5 3600. You're overspending your money there. And then for the motherboard you picked the MSI Mag B550 Tomahawk. I don't have anything against this motherboard for 170 bucks. However, I think we can save you some money for the same performance, but if you really like this motherboard, go ahead, I wouldn't be upset about it. Same goes for the memory kit, a Corsair, 16 gigs of RAM, 3200MHz CL16 memory with RGB, and if you like RGB, I think this is a good choice. We can get a cheaper memory but without RGB, so this is not a bad option. And same goes for the storage, 1TB of M.2 SSD is going to be the sweet spot at around 80 bucks. Once again, this is a good choice. However, for the graphics card you went with the RX 6600, which is a great graphics card for a $700 PC build, or even a $600 PC build, not for an $1100 gaming PC, which is the total for this one. I think that here you overspent on some components and you want to prioritize the GPU for gaming, so I don't think the 6600 is appropriate for a gaming PC build that's 1100 bucks. Then for the case you picked the Corsair 4000D Airflow. Now you went with all black parts and a white case. For that reason I want to switch up the case to a black one, and also you didn't add any extra fans, and you will need the fans for the airflow, so that is another cost that you are going to need if you end up going for the 4000D Airflow. I know it's a beautiful case, but you will be overspending your money once again. Then for the power supply you picked the FGA Supernova 650 watt 80 plus gold certified power supply. This is 90 bucks. I think we can get you a cheaper power supply that is going to perform really good, and you end up saving some money for the same wattage. And then once again, a big mistake is buying Windows 10 for $100 when you can get it for much cheaper. So the total price, like I said before, it's $1100, and for 1080p gaming I don't like this price. Let me fix this build. So this is the build that I went with. First of all, let's talk about the CPU. The Ryzen 5 5600 is going to perform much better for both gaming and multitasking than the 3600, and it's only around $15 more expensive than the 3600, so that's a no-brainer. Then for the CPU cooler I picked the ID Cooling SE214XT because you like RGB. This one has beautiful RGB and it's going to be all that we're going to need to keep that CPU cooler with better temps and also quiet. Then for the motherboard I picked the Gigabyte B550 Aorus Elite. This one it's $20 cheaper than the one that you picked, and it also has great features. You won't notice a single difference with the one you picked, especially for gaming. Then for the memory and storage, I kept your memory kit and the same storage because I think that these are great for the price. Congratulations for picking the right parts there. And then for the graphics card, I went ahead and picked the RX 6650 XT. This one has a huge improvement over the 6600 for 1080p gaming, and you can even start gaming at 1440p with this one. You can even consider the RX 6700 XT instead if you want even better performance at 1440p, but I think that the RX 6650 XT, especially at 1080p, it's all that you're going to need. But if you really want a 1440p gaming monitor, consider the 6700 XT as well. Then for the case I picked the Thermaltake B250 TGA RGB. This one already has 4 fans pre-installed, 3 of them in the front being RGB fans, has a front mesh panel as well, beautiful case, beautiful RGB, and the most important part, it has good airflow and you don't have to overspend your money on extra case fans. And then for the power supply, I went with the FGA VQ 650W 80 plus gold certified power supply. Once again, you're going to get the same performance as the other one, and you're spending $55 here instead of 88 or something like that, which is a huge improvement on the price. And for Windows 10, like I did with Windows 11, you can get a key for around $15 and save a lot of money. So the total price is $976, so you end up saving $100 over your build, and it's going to perform much better for 1080p, and it's also going to be capable of 1440p, where your PC with the 6600 is not ideal for 1440p gaming. So if you want more FPS, more RGB, and less price, this one is the build for you. And if you want to max out your price, I would recommend you going for the 6700 XT instead of the 6650 XT. That way you're even getting more performance, but I would only consider that upgrade if you're going to get a 1440p monitor, because for 1080p it doesn't make any sense switching from the 6650 to the 6700 XT, since both GPUs are going to perform great at that resolution. So that was the whole video. If you found it helpful, leave a like and subscribe, but most importantly hit the bell button. In the comment section you will have a couple questions that you need to answer on my Instagram DMs while you send me this PC, so I can have a better vision about your goals with this PC, if you want RGB, if you don't, if you want AMD, Intel, if you want to do gaming, streaming, or content creation, maybe all of them. So answer those questions that I'm going to leave down below in the comment section. And remember that you will have all the links for these PC builds as well with the PC Builder channel down below in the description. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.